Hello, my name is Ceri. Welcome to 100 Stories Deep. Today I'm going to be reading two stories. They're short stories and I've chosen them because, although simple, they're incredibly disturbing. I find them very, very disturbing and I'm really interested to know what you think as well. And they both have incredible illustrations, so I will share those too. The first one is called Fox and the second, The Island. I'm going to start with Fox. Fox is written by Margaret Wild and the illustrations are by Ron Brooks. Through the charred forest, over hot ash, runs Dog, with a bird clamped in his big, gentle mouth. He takes her to his cave above the river, and there he tries to tend her burnt wing. But Magpie doesn't want his help. "I will never be able to fly again," she whispers. "I know," says Dog. He is silent for a moment and then he says, "I am blind in one eye, but life is still good." "An eye is nothing," says Magpie. "How would you feel if you couldn't run?" Dog does not answer. Magpie drags her body into the shadow of the rocks until she feels herself melting into blackness. Days, perhaps a week later, she wakes with a rush of grief. Dog is waiting. He persuades her to go with him to the riverbank. "Hop on my back," he says, "and look into the water and tell me what you see." Sighing, Magpie does as he asks. Reflected in the water are clouds and sky and trees and something else. "I see a strange new creature," she says. "That is us," says Dog. "Now hold on tight." With Magpie clinging to his back, he races through the scrub, past clumps of straggly trees, past bushes and rocks, and into blueness. He runs so swiftly it is almost as if he were flying. Magpie feels the wind streaming through her feathers, and she rejoices. "Fly, Dog, fly! I will be your missing eye, and you will be my wings." And so Dog runs, with Magpie on his back, every day, through summer, through all winter. After the rains, when saplings are springing up everywhere, a fox comes into the bush. Fox with his haunted eyes and rich red coat. He flickers through the trees like a tongue of fire. And Magpie trembles. But Dog says, "Welcome. We can offer you food and shelter." "Thank you," says Fox. "I saw you running this morning. You looked extraordinary." Dog beams, but Magpie shrinks away. She can feel Fox staring at her burnt wing. In the evenings, when the air is creamy with blossom, Dog and Magpie relax at the mouth of the cave and enjoy each other's company. Now and again, Fox joins in the conversation, but Magpie can feel him watching, always watching her. And at night, his smell seems to fill the cave, a smell of rage and envy and loneliness. Magpie tries to warn Dog about Fox. He belongs nowhere, she says. He loves no one. But Dog says, he's all right. Let him be. That night, when Dog is asleep, Fox whispers to Magpie, I can run faster than Dog. Faster than the wind. Leave Dog and come with me. Magpie says, I will never leave Dog. I am his missing eye, and he is my wings. Fox says no more that night, but the next day, when Dog is at the river, he whispers to Magpie, do you remember what it is like to fly? Truly fly. Again, Magpie says, I will never leave Dog. I am his missing eye and he is my wings. But later that day, as Dog runs through the scrub with Magpie on his back, she thinks, this is nothing like flying. Nothing. And when at dawn, Fox whispers to her for the third time, she whispers back, I'm ready. While Dog sleeps, Magpie and Fox streak past ancient trees, rip through long grass, pelt over rocks. Fox runs so fast, his feet scarcely touch the ground. And Magpie exults. At last I am flying, really flying. Fox scorches through woodlands, across dusty plains, and out into the hot, red desert. He stops, scarcely panting. There is silence between them. Neither moves, neither speaks. Then Fox shakes Magpie off his back as he would have flee and pads away. He turns and looks back at Magpie and he says, now you and Dog will know what it is like to be truly alone. And then he's gone. In the stillness, Magpie hears a faraway scream. She cannot tell if it is a scream of triumph or despair. Magpie huddles, a scruff of feathers adrift in heat. She can feel herself burning into nothingness. It would be so easy just to die here in the desert. But then she thinks of Dog, waking up to find her gone. Slowly, jiggity hop, she begins the long journey home. So that's Fox. The question I have about Fox is, why? Why does he feel such rage and envy and loneliness? What has created that? And what has created that to such an extent that he feels he needs to make others experience it? That's quite disturbing. So my second story, The Island. The Island is written by Armin Greder, again with fabulous illustrations, and it's published by Allen Unwin. The Island. One morning, the people of the island found a man on the beach, where fate and oceans had washed his raft ashore. When he saw them coming, he stood up. He wasn't like them. The people stared at him. They were puzzled. Why had he come here? What did he want? What should they do? One of them suggested it would be best to put the man straight back on his raft and send him away without any delay. I'm sure he wouldn't like it here, so far away from his own kind. But the fisherman knew the sea. If we send him back, it will be the death of him, and I don't want that on my conscience, he said. We have to take him in. So they took him in. They took him to an uninhabited part of the island, to a goat pen that had long been empty. They made him understand that he was to stay there, and they showed him where he could sleep on some straw. And then they locked the gate and went back to their business, and life on the island returned to what it always had been. Then one morning, a man appeared in town. This caused a commotion. The people grabbed him roughly and screamed at him. He tried to make them understand that he was hungry, that he hadn't eaten for days, and could they not give him something to eat, please? He's right, said the fisherman. We can't ignore him now that he is among us. We must help him. This frightened the people. But we can't just feed anyone who comes our way, said the grocer. We don't have enough for everyone. We would all starve to death. The fisherman suggested that someone could give him a job, maybe, so that he could earn his keep. And, he added quietly, he would probably work for less pay than one of us. The innkeeper could surely use some help in the kitchen. If he was in my kitchen, nobody would want to eat at my inn, said the innkeeper. Hire him yourself. But there was only room for one in the fisherman's boat. The carpenter remembered the man's poorly crafted raft. He evidently had no idea how to use a hammer and saw. The carter said simply, look at him. I need someone who can carry heavy loads. And the priest was very sorry, but the stranger's voice would clash with the rest of the choir. In that case, we will have to look after him together, said the fisherman. We took him in. We can't turn our backs. Even though he's not one of us, he is still our responsibility. In the end, the innkeeper agreed to let the man have the scraps he would otherwise toss to the pigs, and they took him back to the goat pen. They strengthened the gate and took turns to guard him, so that in future he would not disturb them. But despite this, the man's presence continued to trouble the people. They hadn't asked for him, but he was there. Their act of kindness had not been the end, merely a beginning. They had taken him onto their island, and now he was part of their lives. He haunted their days and often their dreams. Men frowned and muttered under their breaths. Women stayed in their kitchens, and mothers warned their children not to go near the goat pen. The school teacher lectured about savages and their strange ways. "He eats with his hands," said the innkeeper, "and he eats bones. He will come and eat you if you don't finish your soup," a mother warned her child. "The children are scared of him," lamented the school teacher that night at the inn. "I am sure that he would murder us all if he could," said the policeman. "Foreigner spreads fear in town," said the newspaper in big black letters. The people grew restless. Fear spread throughout the island. People began to talk. "We have to do something before it's too late. We have enough troubles as it is. He's not one of us. It isn't our problem. He is a stranger. He doesn't belong. He has to go." And so they went to the goat pen. They seized the man. They marched him to his raft, and they pushed him back out to sea. And then they set fire to the fisherman's boat, because he had made them help the man. Some people agreed with the fisherman, but the others were louder. They never again wanted to eat fish from this sea that had brought them the stranger. And they built a great wall all around the island with watchtowers from which they could search the sea for signs of other rafts and shoot down passing seagulls and cormorants, so that no one would ever find their island again. So that's The Island by Armin Greder. So my question about the island is, where does this fear come from? What is that fear about? And how can we overcome that fear? And be bigger than that fear. So, as I say, two very disturbing stories, but I think what's useful and interesting about stories that disturb is that they, unlike the happy ever after kind of stories, they leave things, they leave a space, they leave a gap in which you're able to think for yourself and consider some of these things that are creating some of these turbulent thoughts and questions. And stories that raise questions and need answers are always useful in my opinion. So I hope you've enjoyed those. Thank you very much for listening. You can listen to many more stories on the 100 Stories Deep project if you follow the link below. And if you have any comments, that'd be great. We'd love to hear them. Thanks very much.